Aimbot download. Aimbot activated. Give bigger gun. Aimbot activated. Spawn bigger gun. Much better. Здравствуйте and hello everybody. Today we talk about Aimbot. This is going to be the ultimate informational video about aimbots and aimbotting in any game. We're going to talk about everything from the morals to how do they work, how can they potentially be prevented, all kinds of issues. We're going to look at all of it. Where can you find them? Why do people use them? Is it moral to use them? And so on. So this is going to be the ultimate guide. It's going to take some time. Guys, please give me a minute for this. It's a very, very in-depth and complicated subject to get into. So, guys, as always, we are sponsored by hackerbot.net. You can, of course, find hackerbot.net by simply Googling hackerbot or game hacks, and you can head over to hackerbot.net. Go to find free cheats in order to find cheats for any game out there, be that PC, Android, iOS, consoles, whatever. You will find any kind of cheat over here. You can just simply enter the name of your game, such as PUBG Mobile 0.19, and there you go. You will find legitimate mods from legitimate sources, only legitimate sources. Unlike when you just simply Google on the internet, you will find a lot of scams and fakes and such like things. You will also, of course, find legitimate providers of aimbots in here as well. But we're going to get into that a little bit later. So, aimbots, what are they? Okay, well, the name really says most of what you need to know. Aimbot. It automatically aims for you. That's what it does. Some aimbots only lock onto a target in a video game, of course, in a shooter, of course, because those are the games where aimbots are generally used. They will simply lock onto a target and let you shoot yourself, or some aimbots will automatically shoot for you. Some aimbots will only aim at things that you have a field of vision on, or some aimbots will even aim through walls and shoot through walls, which of course makes it very obvious that you're cheating, by the way, but that should go without saying. So, the moral issue about aimbots, let's just touch on this really quickly. Yes, this is the most gray area kind of cheat out there for especially online games. So, using aimbots is extremely controversial, more so than other cheats. For example, bots, they're less controversial because they're generally just used to farm games automatically. You're not really hurting anybody, you're just saving yourself some time. You don't have to play the game 8 hours a day. Nobody really cares. Aimbots, on the other hand, give you a huge competitive advantage in a PvP game, so that's very controversial. And they can be used to devastating effect, killing everybody on the map within seconds in certain cases, as has been the case in certain Call of Duty games, for example, where shooting through walls is very much a possibility. So it has the potential to really impact people's fun if there is not a very solid banning procedure in place by the game developers. And that is another thing. The moral issue should be balanced out by the, let's say, the duty that game developers have to try and get rid of very obvious cheaters. Because very obvious cheaters are very easily identified. If somebody just kills the whole map, they will not only be reported by the enemy team, they will also be reported by their own team, making it extremely easy to ban toxic aimbot users, okay? An aimbot user that isn't toxic, that only uses the aimbot to augment their lack of skill, which, let's be honest, that's what most people do that use aimbots. If you weren't doing that, you could just use a wall hack or something else. Anyways, so those are very hard to detect. They will not always be number one on the scoreboards. They will keep a low profile so that they can keep doing what they're doing. And the most moral, if you can call them that, cheaters that are using aimbots will only use them in situations where their team is so weak that they're getting spawn camped, and the spawn camping is ruining their fun. So they're using cheating software, including aimbots, and wall hacks in order to even out the odds a little bit. So this is the moral issue, and I've put this at the beginning after the segment where we talk about what an aimbot is, because I think it's very, very important to touch on this. I'm very aware that aimbots are a moral gray area. It's not very nice to use, okay? There are certain other cheats and cheating software where you can say, you're not hurting anyone. There's not even an argument that could be made that you're hurting anyone, that you're ruining anyone's fun. There's absolutely no argument that can be made to that effect. However, in this case, that is not the case. Here, the competitive integrity can be argued to be somewhat compromisable by aimbots. However, games such as, for example, Counter-Strike Global Offensive have implemented incredible anti-cheating measures that are able to not only detect aimbots easily, but also wall hacks and all kinds of other cheats, and have a huge rate of banning cheaters. Basically, it's in those games, it's not impossible to cheat, but it's definitely impossible to cheat for over a long time without being detected. So, anyways, just that being said, yes, it's not nice to do, but also the ones that are the cheaters that are really not nice, that are using aimbots, that are really toxic, are relatively easy to ban. All your game needs is basically a reporting system, and yeah, then the moderator needs to look at the statistics and be like, okay, yeah, this guy's cheating, and he's gone, right? So, anyways, that's the moral issue. Let's go back to aimbots. So, of course, what they do is they lock onto people. Some shoot automatically, some don't. The ones that automatically shoot, we're calling those aimbots, including trigger bots, because they automatically trigger. They're called trigger bots. Then, of course, there are other settings that can be configured in a really nice aimbot, such as your aim speed. Okay, certain aimbots will lock on instantly. That's obviously very obvious if you're looking at it in a kill cam or on a recording. Yeah, that's not normal movement. That's not how people move, not on any platform. So if you're just locking on, then there's silent aim, where basically your character is not moving, but you're still aiming and you're still shooting, but nobody sees that you're doing it. And you can a very good aimbot will allow you to configure your aim speed, a delay between aiming and shooting, all kinds of hotkeys for aiming, hotkeys for locking on, hotkeys for all kinds of things. So even predictive aiming, taking the velocity of an object and pre-aiming, so in order to be able to hit moving targets, is also a function that many good aimbots will come with. Of course, they cannot account for changes in direction during the travel of a bullet. That's something that no aimbot can do, unless they know the future, of course, which they do not yet. Let's be very thankful that the aimbots don't know the future yet. Okay, the day where bots know the future, that's the day where humanity dies. Anyways, there are all kinds of aimbots. There are free ones, paid ones. Generally, the paid ones will be less detected. Some even never detected, meaning you don't get banned. So, generally, with aimbots, I do recommend using paid software. However, don't just download the first one you find in Google, because I have been in this industry for a long time. I was using aimbots for about 8 years. I'm not proud of it. I don't use them anymore. But when I was a kid, I did that, and it was not as fun as you might think. But we're going to get into that a little bit later. So what I wanted to say is the providers that you will find at the top of Google might not always be the ones that you want to go with, okay? So when it comes to finding legitimate aimbots and working aimbots, again, I do recommend heading over to hackerbot.net. Again, you can Google hackerbot, or game hacks, and you will get to hackerbot.net, go to find free cheats, and in our hack finder you will be able to find aimbots as well. So whatever game you're looking at, let's say Battlefield 4, oh, that's already a pretty old game, Aimbot, you will find providers in there, okay? However, I'm just going to give you a few recommendations, people I have had dealings with, okay? I'm not getting paid by these people. They're in our hack finder. If they're in our hack finder, generally they are people I trust to do a good job satisfying customers. If they're not in here, I don't recommend them. So that's why I want to recommend using hack finder. I'm not going to mention any names of providers, but there are certain ones that don't show up high in Google and don't show up high in our hack finder either, sadly, that I very much like, that have been doing a great job for a long time. There's never been any problems, they've never been detected, they've always done a very great job. And there's ones that show up high in Google and that show up high in, well, in hack finder, they're not in there, so that's why you should use that one, that are doing a terrible job and that I've had dealings with, and that are very sleazy people. And yeah, now the business itself of selling aimbots is a complicated one, because you're not going to find, like, our company is public, right? If you go to hackerbot.net on the desktop version, you're going to find our address, our company name, everything, right? So it's all public. Well, because we're doing everything, everything we do is legal, everything is fair use, everything is okay. We're not doing any unfair competition with anybody. However, selling aimbots and cheating software like that is it's not as clear cut, let's just say, okay? There are jurisdictions on this planet, and if you're more interested in the legal side of things, just Google hackerbot legal, and you will find on our wiki what video game hacks are legal and illegal. There's a huge article that explains how it all works, unfair competition, and using hacks, selling hacks, making money off of hacks, real world trading. It's all explained. If you Google hackerbot legal, you go to our wiki, and there will be a huge article on the legality of these things. But long story short, selling aimbots is a gray area, okay? You're certainly running the risk of getting sued if you are selling those and you are public and you are doing it in the Western world, generally in the EU or America. And from what I've gathered and the dealings that I've had with people that are selling these, most of them are actually located in the US, but of course they're not disclosing their their locations on the website, and they're making sure that nobody finds out where they are. Anyways, so it's a slightly, for the providers of these cheats, it's a legal gray area, and they have to be very shady about who they are, okay? They can't just simply, like I do, disclose their identity and where they live for legal reasons, because they have to fear getting sued for damages and so on and so forth, because generally they are unfairly there can be a legal argument made that they are unfairly competing with the game developers. However, you as a user are not doing that. The greatest risk that you're taking is getting banned from the game, okay? So that's why you should look at our legal article, hackerbot legal, to get the legal situation on game hacking in general, or just go to the bottom of any page and go to the is game hacking legal or illegal to get the short version of that. There's also a video that I made about that as well. So it's that much about the legal situation and about the people selling and buying and so on. Generally, you can expect to pay about, I guess, $100 a year for a subscription, It depends on the game. It depends how many games are included in the subscription. Certain ones are a lot cheaper, certain ones are more expensive. It really depends. But for a quality subscription to one of these providers to get all of their hacks and aimbots, $100 plus a year have to be expected. Yeah, certainly. If you're gonna get quality software. Anyways, that much for that, and I'm not advertising any particular provider. You have to figure that out for yourself. It's just, you know, whoever provides the best service, and again, please don't go with the ones at the top of Google. Now, let's talk about the fun aspect. Now, this is my personal experience, right? Is using aimbots fun? And I'm just going to give you the short answer. No, it's not. It's not. It's for about 3 minutes, and then it's not fun. Because the thing about aimbots is they take the skill out of any online shooter. And, you know, you might think winning, stacking up kills is a lot of fun. But it really isn't if there's no challenge. It's like, you need a challenge in order to feel satisfied and feel a sense of achievement. If there's no challenge, if you just have to hold down a button to win, there is no challenge. There is no you didn't do anything extraordinary that some other people wouldn't be able to do. So actually acquiring the skills and perfecting them and then winning is a lot more satisfying than simply using a cheat in order to win. So that's another factor that plays into this whole thing. Game hackers, especially aimbot users, they don't stick around for long in any game. The problem kind of solves itself because, yeah, they're gonna get all the unlocks that they wanted, all their gold skins and stuff within, let's say, a week, and yeah, and then oh, what else is there to do? Well, it's not even really fun playing with Aimbot, and I can't even really use it that much because people will report me, and yeah, well, that was fun. $100 well spent, right? So, my personal experience is it's no fun. If you're gonna want to use a cheat that is kind of fun, go with wall hacks and don't use an aimbot. You'll still have to aim. You will still have a huge advantage over other players. Or in my case, I'll just be normal skill level because I'm really bad at shooters. So use wall hacks as a crutch instead. Really good players will still absolutely demolish you. It'll be more fair for the other players, and you will have fun still, and you'll still have an advantage, an unfair advantage. But yeah, so generally just don't use cheats at all, but then other people will use cheats, so that's not fair either. I guess the world is just simply not fair. Right? And that's another aspect of the morals of game cheating and aimbots is you can tell I'm in a sport where cheating and taking shortcuts is kind of a thing people do. And you know, it's just part of the sport. It's part of any sport, actually. Just in this particular sport, it's maybe a little bit more obvious that people cheat. But yeah, cheating is human nature. I talk to people on a daily basis, and at first they're like, "Oh no, I would never cheat. I would never. No. But secretly, they all want to cheat. They all want to cheat. Like, yeah, almost with no exceptions. There are exceptions. But yeah, cheating is human nature. Doing whatever it takes, taking shortcuts to win, it's something humans do. We are programmed. It's within us. It's our instinct. It's a drive that we have. We don't really care if what we're doing is fair or not. Most of us don't care anyways. So, anyways, if we're honest, which we're not, and that's another way we're unfair. If we were honest, that would be more fair. Anyways, we're getting into philosophical discussions, but we're talking about aimbots here. So, why do aimbots work, and what can be done about them? Now, this is the part where the game developers will be all ears, but honestly, game developers already know that there's not that much they can do about it. If you want to know about why aimbots work and why they'll continue to work most likely for a long time, go to your local Googles and, just ignore the search phrase, Google hacker bot client side, okay? This is our article about client side and server side processing, okay? Now, shooters are constructed in such a way as any online game, and we're of course talking about multiplayer shooters, whether they be of the first person or the third person variety, does not matter. They all have a server and a client. What is on the server is not on your device, your computer, your Xbox, your Android. That is processed on another computer, far away, through the internets, on the big wide web, on the big cloud, right? And then you have your client, this thing right here, that is your computer. Now, in any shooter, your client has to know what the map looks like around you, right? Walls, trees, other players. Oh yes, other players. Yeah, your client has to know where other players are, so you can shoot them and get hit markers and blood and explosions, right? Very important. Explosions. Many explosions, medals popping up on your screen. Triple kill, blood, everything. You are the best. Sensory overload. So your client has to know where other players are, basically, in order to display the game properly to you in a satisfying way. So that if you shoot someone, there's blood splatter or whatever, and there's kills showing up on your scoreboard and so on. So the downside of that is, of course, your computer knows where other players are. That means your computer can display where the other players are if you're using mods or hacks or aimbots. Aimbots are a kind of hack, of course. They're not just a bot, they are a hack. Now, these hacks can be implemented in all kinds of ways. They can be injected, they can be mods. On Android, they are generally mods, which is the second most popular platform for aimbotting. On Windows, they are generally DLL injected into the game memory. And yeah, there's all kinds of ways to make these things happen. However, generally, your client can display enemy players' positions if they are in your vicinity. Now, maybe in the future, games will switch to server-side processing only. However, basically your computer will just act as a screen at that point. You will not even process the graphics at that point on your computer, but that will lead to automatically higher pings, and I don't think we're gonna break the light barrier anytime soon to make that not an issue. So probably that's not going to happen anytime soon, so aimbotting will be possible and will continue to be possible in online multiplayer shooters for quite some time, okay, until maybe there will be, well, maybe there will be a system that only loads in stuff that you can actually see at some point, but it's unlikely that it's going to be anytime soon. It's going to take a huge amount of additional processing power to implement such a system. Maybe some games will manage it, but probably not. And you'll still see stuff that you can still auto aim at stuff that you can actually see, even in that case. So aimbots are here. They are a reality of online multiplayer shooters. There's really not much the developers can do about it, except, of course, banning people really quickly. The sooner you ban a player for aimbotting, the better. That is what you can actually do about aimbotting if you are a game developer. There's no way at this point that is feasible, that makes it impossible for aimbots to be created, but you can ban people as quickly as possible if they are positively identified as cheaters by server-side statistics, by reports, player reports. Those are a very important data point. And maybe stuff like accuracy rating, again, that's just player statistics, movement patterns, and so on. So there's many ways that can be used in order to ban players before they become a real problem. Again, but in the end, it's in the hands of the developers how quickly they get rid of these aimbot users. Now, if you're just saying, "Well, why don't they just patch the aimbots?" Yeah, it's not possible. See, See, just go over to hackerbot.net to our client versus server side article. You will understand why it's not possible. It's just simply the only way would be to process the game entirely on the servers, and that's not going to happen. That's going to cost so many server resources. It's simply not possible at this point. So that is, we've talked about the morals of aimbotting. We've talked about how it works, what kind of configuration methods there are. Now, if you're gonna use aimbots, how do you use them safely? Well, most important thing is use them with respect for other players. Okay, my recommendation is please don't use aimbots. But if you're gonna use aimbots, and I know you're gonna use aimbots, like that's why hackerbot.net exists. Like if you want to read our mission statement, you know, we know cheating is bad, but you're gonna do it. You're kids, you're gonna do it anyways, so you might as well do it safely, right? So that's what I'm going for here. Please don't use aimbots, but you're gonna do it anyway, so please, just use them with respect for other players. Maybe the way I would do it ideally, in an ideal world, right? Use them when your team is so hopelessly weak that you're getting spawn camped in order to even the odds, for example, right? And maybe configure the aimbot not just to go for headshots, but maybe body shots as well, because most aimbots can be configured to do so, right? That will make it a little bit less obvious that you're cheating, a little bit less likely that you're getting banned and reported. I would also recommend using all the available configuration sliders in order to slow down your aiming, maybe enable silent aiming, maybe program a delay before shooting, and so on, to make it less obvious that you are a hackerino, okay? If somebody looks at your kill cam or looks at you while you're doing stuff, maybe they shouldn't think it's very obvious that you're cheating. That would be good. Might not get you banned quite as quickly. If you're not doing these things, and if you're toxic, and if you're killing the whole map, and you're annoying everybody, then you deserve to get banned, and I am glad that you got banned, okay? If you are that guy. Of course, you guys, everybody watching me right now, you are all very nice guys. You would never do that. No, I would never use the aimbot to do evil things. I don't need to use the aimbot for good. Yeah, it's like if you have a superpower. Oh, I would only use superpowers for good? Oh, I got superpowers. Let's rob a bank. Let's rob a bank. Anyway. Human nature. It's a funny thing. But if we're honest, we all tend towards evil in some ways. The only difference is some people admit it and some people don't. And you know what? I like the people that admit that they're evil more than the people that don't admit it. So, anyways, that is about that. Of course, bans are always a possibility, so if you're really serious about your account, make a second account to cheat. Don't cheat on your main account, blah blah blah, and especially don't use free software if you don't want to get banned, because free software will generally be detected pretty quickly because it's publicly available, and the developers can download it as well, so they can ban you for using it quite quickly. So, spending money in this case might be worth it. I'm not telling you to do it or not to do it. Yeah, the most popular platforms for using aimbots, of course, are Windows PC. So on Windows PC, there's the most aimbots. Then Android, iOS. Ooh, it's harder to find aimbots for iOS. Consoles. Ooh, difficult. The console would have to be pretty old. Would have to be hacked console that can run unsigned code, and even then it's unlikely. So generally, I would say aimbots exist for PC and Android. So if you're, for example, on iOS and you want an aimbot, your best chance is to just switch over to Android, play the same game, and play it with a mod menu that includes an aimbot. Anyways, I think we covered everything finally. I told you guys this is gonna be a long video and an in-depth one, but I think we covered everything from legal to moral to how it works, where to get them. Again, guys, if you are looking for legitimate cheats, including aimbots, mods, whatever, for Android, iOS, PC, head over to hackerbot.net. Hackerbot. But just Google the hackerbots in your local Googles. Go to your local Googly and say, I want the hackerbot! And then go to hackerbot.net and go to find free cheats. And you'll find all the cheats and the lovely hacks that you want. And that will make you so extremely happy, or make your game really boring because you don't have to use skill anymore. In the case of Aimbots. So yeah, anyways, I told you guys, it's not very fun. Ignore this search phrase. It's not very fun to use aimbots, but they are popular because, well, they do make you win at the game, and yeah, people want to win. Who knew? Who knew people wanted to win at the games? It's astonishing. Who could have seen it coming? People want to win at the video games. Oh, and they want to cheat to do the winning at the video games. That's very evil. Oh. Anyways. I'm going crazy, guys. So yeah, end of video. Thanks you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you guys later.